Welcome to Class with Skeul, where Black American history, news, and real issues are taught with clarity, structure, and purpose. This is not surface-level content. This is a timeline, a record, a correction. Every episode is built to teach what was done, what was fought for, and what was taken. From revolts to wars, from policy to resistance, we break it down so it can be understood, remembered, and never rewritten. Because history that isn't taught clearly can be distorted, and history that is distorted can be used against the people it belongs to. Here, we focus on accuracy, on connection, on truth. Not just to inform, but to preserve. Not just to explain, but to expose. Because this isn't just about the past. It's about understanding the present and recognizing what continues. Each video is part of a larger structure, so nothing is isolated and nothing is forgotten. Stay focused, stay aware, stay connected. Cry aloud, spare not. Lift up thy voice like a trumpet, and shew my people their transgression, and the house of Jacob their sins. Isaiah 58:1. Episode 3, The Stono Rebellion, 1739. Part 1, The Uprising Begins. By the early 1700s, the system of slavery in the American colonies had fully taken shape. In South Carolina, it was especially intense. The colony had become one of the wealthiest in British North America, driven by rice plantations that depended heavily on enslaved black labor. In some areas, black people outnumbered white colonists. That imbalance created fear, and where there is fear, there is control. Laws became stricter, movement was restricted, punishments became harsher. The goal was clear: maintain dominance at all costs. But beneath that system, something else was growing: experience, knowledge, and the will to resist. Many of the enslaved black people in South Carolina were not born into slavery in America. They came from regions in Africa where warfare, strategy, and military organization were part of life. Some had been soldiers, some understood coordinated action. They brought that knowledge with them. And in 1739, that knowledge turned into action. Early on a Sunday morning in September, near the Stono River, a group of enslaved black men gathered. They were led by a man known as Jemmy. They moved with purpose. Their first target was a weapons store. They broke in, armed themselves, and eliminated the shopkeepers. This was not random. It was strategic. They understood that control of weapons meant control of the situation. From there, they began to move south. As they marched, they called out to others. Some joined. Others were forced to make a decision in real time: join or stay behind. With each step, their numbers grew. They carried banners. They beat drums. They made their presence known. This was not hidden resistance. This was open, direct, and intentional. Their destination was clear: Spanish Florida. Spain had already established a policy offering freedom to enslaved people who escaped British colonies. Word of that had spread. This wasn't just a revolt. It was a mission, a march toward freedom. If you've made it this far, you're not just watching. You're following Black American warrior history in its full timeline. On Class with Skeul, every episode connects, showing resistance, strategy, and power across generations. If you're tapped in, support the channel. Hit like so more people see this. Subscribe so you don't miss what's next. Turn on the notification bell so you're there when it drops. And share this with someone who needs the full story, not just pieces. This isn't random content. It's a structured history. Stay locked in. The next episode goes deeper. As the group moved south, their numbers grew to somewhere between 60 and 100 people. They burned plantations along the way. They disrupted the system that had been built on their labor, and for a moment, control shifted. But the colony responded quickly. White militia forces were organized and sent to intercept them. What followed was a violent confrontation. The rebels fought back, but they were outmatched in weapons and numbers. By the end of the battle, many of the participants were killed. Others were captured and later executed.
The rebellion was suppressed, but it was not meaningless. It forced the colony to face a reality they had been trying to control. Resistance was not rare. It was organized. It was capable, and it was willing to act. The response from colonial authorities was immediate. In 1740, South Carolina passed the Negro Act, one of the strictest slave laws in the colonies. It limited movement, restricted education, and increased surveillance over enslaved black people. The goal was to prevent another Stono, but laws don't erase intent, they don't erase knowledge, they don't erase the willingness to resist. If anything, they confirm it, because systems don't tighten control unless they feel threatened, and Stono was a threat. It showed that enslaved black people could organize, plan, and act collectively. It showed that they were not passive participants in the system, but active opponents of it. It also showed something else: connection. The idea that freedom existed elsewhere and that it was worth moving toward. The march toward Spanish Florida was more than geography, it was strategy, and it would not be the last time that strategy was used. The Stono Rebellion became one of the earliest large-scale uprisings in the American colonies. It left a mark, not just in laws, but in memory. Because even in defeat, it proved something undeniable. The system was never secure, and the people inside it were never truly controlled. They were resisting, they were adapting, and they were preparing. Because the fight for freedom was not stopping, it was evolving.
If you made it to the end, stay tapped in. Like this video so it reaches more people. Subscribe to Class with Skeul for the full timeline. Turn on notifications so you don't miss what's next. Drop a comment. What stood out, what should be added, and what you want covered next.